Alright, guys. Make sure you go over to the MMA Guru's channel, subscribe, like it, and tell him I sent ya. But let's listen to what he's got to say.
We have a lot to discuss in today's video. Islam Makhachev plans on moving up to the welterweight division if JDM defeats Belal Muhammad.
We all knew that already. Islam Makhachev said he has always wanted to be a champ in 2 weight divisions. And it makes more sense for him to move up than down. He already walks around at like 180 as it is without cutting weight, and he's fighting at 155, so...
For the World Championship at UFC 315, which is very interesting in terms of what's next for Ilia Topuria and what's next for the lightweight division in general. Also,
Belal Muhammad sucks, and he is not going to win against JDM. It's just not going to happen.
The UFC royally fumbled Artem Vatakov. This is starting to get annoying. I'm going to give my opinion on this, and it's going to be very, very harsh against the UFC. They offered him 12 for 12 in his debut in the UFC. This isn't some random... I'm going to get to it, though. I'm going to get to it. But now Artem Vatakov, instead of fighting Tokos on an Apex Fight Night card, guess what? He's now got a Glory Heavyweight Championship fight against Rico Verhoeven. Well done, UFC. I'll get to it. I'll get to it in a second. We've also got Brandon Royval versus Manel Kape, which is taking place on International Fight Week, June the 28th, UFC 317. This is a massive matchup. I hope this takes place. This is a big matchup in the flyweight division. I thought I'd break down at the end. I'm going to start with the Islam Makhachev news. Everyone in the comments of this Instagram post is posting things about a matador. He must first fight Ilia first. He has no other options. Dana knows it's the biggest fight of the year and he won't let that go by. Bro's running from Ilia. He's scared. Ilia gifts all over the place. Derek Lewis or Cutman Tate running away from people here. I mean, there's everything. He's running. He's scared. What? Bro might be a bigger duck than Jones. Now,
Islam is not scared of anyone. He's already told Dana White that he will fight anyone, anywhere, at any time. So let's just get that straight.
the problem is with the not making the Ilia Topuria fight. You know what? I get it.
It's Topuria too, MMA Guru. I love you, but please stop saying his name wrong. It drives me nuts.
I actually get where Makhachev's coming from. I really do. I don't mind Makhachev thinking, well, Ilia, no, I'm not fighting another featherweight champion moving up. But at the same time, I do understand the point where it's like, well, one of the times that you did that, you haven't been doing it your whole career. I know he's fought a lot of former featherweights, but they're all established at lightweight first. The second time, Volk, you know, he came in on very short notice. That was, you know, I don't think that's count. You've beaten a featherweight champion that moved up within your title reign at lightweight. I understand that he doesn't want to have his career be dictated by beating people from a lower weight class. I completely understand. The problem now is Islam Makhachev versus Ilia Topuria is one of the largest fights in the history of the sport. It will be one of the most high-selling pay-per-view fights in the history of the sport. And that's the problem. If this was just any old featherweight champ that no one cared about, and Makhachev was saying, I don't want to fight him yet. I'll fight another contender here or I'll move up to 170. I fought the featherweight champion in my era trying to move up. The problem is, this is in such high demand. I would understand if Makhachev was saying, oh, put him Oliveira, the International Fight Week. And then all of a sudden he wants to fight in October. Now, this schedule from Makhachev, this is why I have a problem with this. I have another take on this as well. I get why he wants to move up. To be honest with you, he's arguably earned it. The problem is, there are contenders at lightweight that are very close to earning their shot. There is Ilia Topuria moving up, who a lot of people want to see get his shot for the lightweight championship. There are many...
There's Charles Oliveira, Justin Gaethje, Max Holloway if you wanted to. Well, he said he was moving up and staying up lightweight. So Max Holloway, man, there's a lot of them.
Contenders at welterweight. I think when it comes to double fight, double champ status and, super fights where a champ moves up and fights the champ in a higher division, you have to take into consideration, okay, how stacked are the divisions underneath them in the top 5 with deserving contenders? There's a few guys that are one fight away from a title shot. Arman Sarukian, if he wins his next fight, should get a title shot. I think Arman should just get a title shot if we're going to play this game.
I do too. I think Arman should not have been told that he needs to start from the bottom back up. That's just not fair. Arman deserves that title shot.
If it keeps Islam Makhachev active while Ilia Topuria fights against Charles Oliveira, I say rebook Gaethje versus Dan Hooker. Give Arman a title shot if you want to play this game.
Yeah.
The problem that I have with this is, if JDM beats Bilal, that's in May. So we're talking about Makhachev's next plan to return is in October, November, maybe? And that's maybe. If the winner of JDM Bilal is going to be ready for them. And it's not going to be Bilal because everyone's a team but us. They're on a team. Bilal trained with him a couple of times, so now they're immune from each other because they're all on a team, guys. I've been trying to say this for a while. I mean, it's very easy to say the takeover of the sport when you guys ain't fighting each other.
My question is, does the MMA guru think that any of the fighting nerds would fight each other if it came down to it? Because I think they would, 100%.
We're cancelling our boys out. You know what I'm saying? In every community on the West. We're out here cancelling each other out for matchups and this. Very easy to say there's some kind of takeover when you, train together for a couple of weeks and all of a sudden you just can't possibly fight each other. You know what I mean? It's an interesting thing.
It is.
But if JDM wins...
A little silly.
This means we won't be seeing Islam Makhachev until October earliest. The only reason I was saying... The only reason why I justified Ilia Topuria versus Charles Oliveira next, in the meantime, is because I assumed that Makhachev was going to be coming back in October or November, because that's typically the way things go. Of course, he destroyed Moicano within a minute or two. Oh, it's such a tricky fucking situation. I understand Makhachev's point. I get it. He doesn't want to be the guy to beat Ilia and, well done, you beat a guy Bryce Mitchell took down. You know? Oh, well done, dude. You beat an unproven guy, even though he's not unproven. You beat a guy where we don't know how he stacks up at lightweight. I got a lot of people telling me, dude, I think Arman beats Ilia. You know? So I understand Makhachev's point, but the thing I don't understand is, cool, then fight Arman.
Right.
Then tell him.
Fight him. Yeah.
Put him Oliveira.
Prove it to him.
Match that up. Fight the winner. Don't do this thing where you're like, I'm not fighting Ilia Topuria, and let's see what's going on at 170 while, I don't like that. Now, this is all determined on JDM beating Bilal, which is a tall order, but you know what? He might do it. Because it feels like the plot line would...
Bilal's a bitch. He's going to lose, hands down, first or second round. That show's over.
Makes sense this way. But if we know now that Makhachev is planning to return at the end of the year, because he ain't planning on returning in June if his next matchup is, in his mind, the winner of the welterweight championship in May. He ain't fighting in June, July, or August. That just ain't happening.
He won't be fighting
earliest is October.
A year.
And if he is, then just do Oliveira Topuria in the meantime. What is the hold up? Why aren't we getting the big fights? Listen, a lot of people just want to see Makhachev versus Topuria. I don't mind that. If they want to just do that straight away, but at the end of the day, Makhachev does have a choice. Which is correct. When did these guys have a choice? Am I off?
No, not at all.
We're in some choice era?
Yeah, it's crazy shit.
Crack out the whip, Dana.
John Jones invented that, so let's all thank him.
He's Wyatt-ish, so I can say that here. Crack out the whip, Dana. Do as you're fucking told, yeah? That's what I need to be said right now.
Yeah,
Where's the cojones in the UFC staff right now? These guys aren't supposed to have rights. These are what they've been complaining about for years. Now all of a sudden these guys are picking and choosing? It feels like the UFC don't want Ilia getting his shot, because if they did, there'd be none of this discussion from Makhachev. What are we playing out here? Do as you're told. Do as you're told, Makhachev. That's what we need right now from the UFC.
100%.
Makhachev's like tucking in a bib. What do I want here at the buffet? Oh, I might help myself to a bit of this, and I don't want any of that over there, but 170 seeming tasty. What do you mean? You'll sit there and you'll take what you're served, okay?
Yeah.
That's what it comes down to at the end of the day. Where is the lay of the law in the UFC that we came to know and love?
That ship has
Do as
sailed,
you're
my
told,
friend.
dude. I would say that exact same thing about the when it comes to Jones Aspinall, but that has different connotations. Okay? So I'm not going to do that. But Jones is in a similar situation. What's all this choice? These guys ain't supposed to have no rights. These guys are supposed to have no rights.
Yeah, they fight for us, not themselves.
For years, we've been gaslit by the MMA media. It's horrible, the treatment of them. They don't have a choice with anything. They don't have any choice to go elsewhere. They just have to do as they're told. Damn right! Now tell them to do what they're told.
Right? They're under contract. Fuck them.
I'm annoyed by this. I feel like there's a few fighters in this sport, and they just get their own way. McGregor got his own way. But when it's to fight Mayweather, in the time that he did, it's different. Okay?
Yeah, but think all the money that was involved in that. Didn't Floyd Mayweather bag like $300 million just to do that fight?
Okay? This ain't a Mayweather fight. Makhachev JDM ain't no McGregor Mayweather fight of the ages that's gonna make so much fucking money. It'll do well. Makhachev moving up to 170 will do well. But Makhachev Topuria is a bigger fight than Makhachev JDM. So what's dictating the UFC flexibility here? I thought they were all about the money. That's why they let McGregor do the Mayweather stint. That's why they let McGregor rematch Diaz and then get an Eddie Alvarez title shot at lightweight after losing to Diaz just the fight before.
After getting choked
Money
out.
dictated it. Money is Makhachev Topuria.
Sorry, I love you, Conor McGregor. If I lived in Ireland, I would vote for you for president. You've got my vote.
Make it happen. I'm sick of these guys having rights. I'm actually getting sick of it. And this, I tell you this is why they're not allowed them. And I'll tell you, hey, they had their chance with their rights. Okay, and now look where we're ending up. We're not getting Jones Aspinall and we're not getting Makhachev Topuria.
Strip them of them rights.
That's just with a sliver of freedom. Okay? I warned you about this years ago, guys. God, I'd be terrible a couple hundred years ago, huh? Either way. If this is what I'm like now, Jesus Christ, I'd be a menace back in the 1800s. I tell you, chat. There's no chat. I miss you guys. Either way.
I don't got a chat either, buddy.
This is what... I warned you once they got a bit of freedom, they'd start acting up like this. And now look at this shit show that we've got. Choice?
What choice?
I tried to warn people years ago. And now look at the fucking sport. These guys are doing what they want. You do as you're told. And you do what the fans tell you to do.
I think Dana's just scared that 90% of his roster that he pays would beat the shit out of him if they wanted.
But Ilia Topuria, Charles Oliveira, co-main event, 5-rounder, international fight week in June. Fucking get it done and give him no choice.
Yeah, let's
then
fucking
there's
go.
no, ooh, I don't know if I want to do that. Then there's none. Quit the fucking joking around. If you don't want to fight Topuria yet, so be it. Corner him. Put him in a corner, dude. Shove Makhachev in a locker. That's what we need to do here. Old school bullying techniques. Cut off all other options. Hopefully, Bilal beats JDM. Well, actually, I want JDM to win. But now, no.
I want JDM to win too. Because I cannot stand Bilal Muhammad. I don't even know how the guy's in the UFC, honestly.
Oliveira Topuria UFC. Where are the decisions being made for the better of the sport? You ain't doing them anymore. Oliveira Topuria. Arman versus Gaethje. Dan Hooker, Max Holloway. You're welcome. Tell them to do as they're told or they can leave.
Those are good matchups.
Someone who didn't do as he was told and left. Artem Vatakov. He won on the Contender Series, and this was supposed to be a massively hyped-up matchup in the UFC. Let's move on. Alex Pereira's former opponent at Glory in kickboxing. They're 1-1 against each other. switched the fights around. I thought Alex Pereira won the first fight. Or I thought Alex Pereira lost the first fight and won the second one, but because they knew Alex Pereira was leaving the second one, they kind of took it and gave it to Vatakov, in my opinion. And I thought that they thought, Pereira's going to stick around. He's our big star in Glory. He gets all the highlight reels. He KO'd Adesanya, so they gave him the win in the first one. So it's kind of a weird moment there. Both were very competitive fights, though, don't get me wrong. But Vatakov was supposed to be one of the biggest prospects in the sport. We're missing out so many. We're missing out many. Paul Hughes. I think he commented on a post about this like, lol. Vatakov left the UFC because they didn't offer him anything. Listen, I agree with offering some random Jose Delgado who no one knows. I don't know why that's popped into my head. I guess I know him. But some of these guys that come into the UFC that you've never heard of, they've got 3,000 followers on Instagram. No one cares about them. 12 and 12. Cool. This isn't a random. Give him 30 and 30. You got Angela Hill making more than you were about to offer Vatakov. Nothing to the table. Brings nothing to the table. It's getting to the point now where, listen, I understand some of these guys have no value when they get to the UFC, and the UFC is all the value. They can fight for 12 for 12. The disrespect in, listen, I'll just read it out right here. Artem Vatakov, former Glory kickboxing champion, no longer has the UFC in his immediate plans, despite earning a contract on Dana White's Contender Series. According to UFC protocols, they were not able to offer me more than the standard contract offered to all fighters who progress through this show. My team attempted to negotiate, but the UFC rules were strict and no changes were possible. This isn't George Tokos. What are you doing? Little bit extra. Listen, I just said, don't give him too much freedom. But when it comes to Vatakov, when it comes to Cedric Doumbé, there's another Lewis McGrillen's at the PFL now. I know these other promotions are bleeding money and burning through money, but they're costing you generational prospects here.
100%.
What are we doing?
Preach, Guru.
I feel like they're going to lowball Luke Riley as well.
100%.
Who's got a lot of following. Paddy Pimlet got 20 for 20 in his debut. He's making more at Cage Warriors. What are we doing? When it calls for it, you give a Nelk boy. You'd give Steiny from the Nelk boys $250,000, Dana White, to gamble. Don't. You're 70. Grow up and stop hanging around the Nelk boys. And give some of that cash to these guys. Now Vatakov's at Glory. And I've commented on this. And I love this fucking fight. Well, I think, I'm glad that UFC fumbled him because now we get Rico Verhoeven versus Artem Vatakov.
I know. Hold on. That's a good fight right there. Rico Verhoeven versus Artem Vatakov. That's going to be a good fight. I'm going to have to catch that one. When is that fight, actually?
300. Perfect. Absolutely a generational fight in kickboxing, in Glory. Rico Verhoeven's, I think he's been undefeated for 11 years in Glory. That's not an over-exaggeration. For over a decade, Rico Verhoeven has been the king of kickboxing. I don't think he's been the king for that entire time, but maybe. You know what? Maybe. He's been undefeated for about 11 years.
It's a good sell.
Beat the who's who. They were supposed to do him versus Alex Pereira. He ended up coming to the UFC. And obviously Alex Pereira had that Adesanya motivation. But Artem Vatakov, 12 for 12 is a disgrace. He's going to make $500,000 against Rico Verhoeven. And I bet you he weren't asking for $500,000.
No,
I bet you he wasn't even asking for $100K. I bet you he was just saying, listen, I'm not 12 for 12. Give me 30 for 30.
Yeah.
I bet you anything that was the negotiation. Can I get 40 for 40? 35, 35?
25 for 25?
Sam Hughes, women's strawweight fighter who probably makes 40 for 40 right now. Where are your priorities? Because at the moment all I'm doing is complaining. All I'm doing is complaining. with the Makhachev shit. Fucking run the ship again. We're losing control. Cedric Doumbé's like, we miss out on Cedric Doumbé. He ended up being a bit of a dud. He got a fucking splinter in his toe, and you know, we don't really hear from Cedric Doumbé that much anymore. But these are guys that we should have on the roster. You know?
Yep.
But now we're like, oh, we got Peyton Tabot. Peyton Tabot? He's mid-fraud check before he got to the UFC. Watch that fight before he got to the UFC. He's getting messed up. Oh, Quillan Salkild is our prospect. It should be Artem Vatakov. These are the careers that we should be following right now. We got Anshul Jabli, everyone. Panic over.
What?
Where's your fucking priorities? Pay him out. It's Vatakov. Give him a 3-fight deal. You've got money. You've got money. I swear to God, since Disney has bought the UFC, I would not be surprised.
Oh my god, that explains so much. Oh my god. Have you checked out how awesome Snow White's been doing? UFC's on a fucking roller coaster.
If this sport is like set to be doomed. I don't know what we're doing. We're fumbling shit. But I'm glad because now we got Rico Verhoeven and Artem Vatakov. And I think Rico wins. I think Rico's going to win this fight. And that's going to be huge for Rico. And if he wins, I reckon they could do something like a mixed rules kickboxing fight between him and Francis Ngannou at the PFL. But I don't know if Glory's going to let him go to do that. Maybe he will. Maybe they won't. Maybe they will. But what's next for Ngannou? This kind of messes up Ngannou's shit. Because to Rico Verhoeven, this means something in terms of kickboxing accolades. Ngannou's a huge name and would bring a big payday for Rico, and maybe he's going to call him out if he does beat Vatakov. But this kind of stagnates Ngannou's career even more because I thought Rico was next up for Ngannou. But now Vatakov gets him. So maybe the UFC's playing 5D chess, who knows? We'll lowball Vatakov, he'll get the Rico fight. Have fun sitting out for another year, Ngannou. No one gives a fuck about you anymore. Which is true. But
And that's something Dana White would
it shouldn't
love.
be about that. It should be, let's get the fucking best guys in. And if they're worth more than 12 for 12, they're worth more than 12 for 12. You've got to scale the pay according to how important they are to have in the sport. You dumb promotion. I can't wait till I run that shit. Give me 10 years. Give me 10 years. Can't wait till I run that shit. Either way, Brandon Royval versus Manel Cap. Sick fight. Great matchmaking. Royval's bringing his goggles. You know what I'm saying? Cap's got away with 2 in a row. Let's just call it what it is. But then again, Bruno Silva was doing it to him as well. So that one was evens. But I don't know who wins this one. I don't know who wins this one. This guy says this confirms Moreno Pantoja 4. He didn't know the sport. I think this confirms Cara France Pantoja, which I'm not a big fan of. And I hope it's also not on International Fight Week as well. I think Pantoja Cara France on the main card of International Fight Week is a waste of a main card spot. I'm just going to be honest with you. I think that could main event a crowded fight night event, or it could be on the, you know, as an addition to the June pay-per-view in Newark, New Jersey, or it could be on an August pay-per-view. That can be put elsewhere. International Fight Week or a July one even, who knows. International Fight Week, this I think is prelims. That's my mind. In my mind, International Fight Week is Dricus du Plessis versus Hamzat Chimaev main event. Co-main event, Charles Oliveira versus Ilia Topuria for 5 rounds to earn a shot against Makhachev in October. Feature fight, Max Holloway versus Dan Hooker. 5-round feature fight. 4th fight
them.
down.
I like those fights.
I don't know. I had a bunch of matchups in my head not that long ago. I wanted Kamaru Usman versus Joaquin Buckley on the main card. You know?
No.
What's another fun fight they could put on there? They could rebook Khalil Roundtree versus Jamal Hill to that. I think Royval Cap should be headlining the prelims of International Fight Week. But an amazing fight. Wicked matchup.
I think Buckley earns way better than a shot to fight Usman. Kamaru Usman wouldn't even stand a chance against Joaquin Buckley.
Looking forward to it. I don't know who wins. Royval is chinnable. But I could see him out-voluming.
I think Royval is going to beat Cop. I think he's going to take away Cap's winning streak.
Cap, but this is a 3-rounder, so you know what? I probably will go Manel Cap here. If this was a Fight Night main event, I'd say, Royval probably gets this one done. I don't see a finish here. I just see Cap being a little bit too ooh and ah for Royval. The problem is with Royval, he's very good, and he's got good teeps and straight punches, but he doesn't have many ooh and ah moments. He used to. But recently he's been very like teep heavy, peppery with a jab that's half committed to. So I can see him maybe landing more, but Cap having bigger moments and then winning the fight 2-1. Maybe Royval wins the 3rd round and Manel Cap wins the first 2. So I'm actually going to lean towards Manel Cap here in this fight, and I actually could see him being an underdog too. But yeah, very, very interesting matchup.
Manel Cap is like, if... What the hell is that? Short comedian's name. It's like him, but being able to fight. Y'all know who I'm talking about. That short black comedian that just played in that shit-ass movie. I'm drawing a blank here. Alright, never mind. I forget. I can't even think of his name right now. But you know who I'm talking about, I hope.
What was the other fight that I was going to put on the main card of International Fight Week? I had Umar Nurmagomedov versus Peter Yan now, because they've made O'Malley Merab 2 as the Abu Dhabi Fight Night main event. I think that'd be a good Abu Dhabi Fight Night main event. I had another fight. Oh, yeah, like an Arto Moicano versus like a Mauricio Huffy or something along those lines. I don't remember what it was. Maybe I had like Mateusz Gamrot, Brian Ortega on the prelims. Maybe I'd have like a... Maybe I'll do a video next week making an International Fight Week card. I've kind of just ruined the whole point of that now. But my main point of this whole video was, what's going on here? Crack down the whip. These guys are getting too much freedom. And in the case where these guys are earned a bit more, don't give Artem Vatakov the same contract you would give a 4-2 women's strawweight prospect off the Contender Series. They're different. Are we trying to prove a point? What are you doing? They're different. I don't care if some random woman I've never heard about gets 12-12. I don't care. I don't care if some other random gets 12-12. No one knows them yet. They're in the UFC. Cool, now we get to know them. They complete their first contract, then they can talk. But Artem Vatakov is not them. Give him 30 for 30. Give him 50 to show. No win bonus. Get a bit more flexible. We're coasting, and they're catching up. And it's getting shit. I'll take over the sport in about a decade, so... Once I've done that, I'll fix this shit up. But either way, it's fucking terrible, man. Yeah. Like and subscribe.
Well, if you need a partner, I'm here for you, Guru. Most of the time, I agree with everything you say.
Thank you for watching. Toodle Pip. I'll see you later. Goodbye.
Bye.